Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? I'm glad you're here. New time, 8 o'clock. I know it's late for some of us, but I wanted to make sure that we got a couple people from the East Coast that were complaining that we were doing the middle of the day because they have to work, and we did it for a lot of different reasons. It gives me a little bit more breathing room. I work till 6 most of the time, and by the time I get home, and I wanted to build the studio at the house for the purpose of doing some stuff from home. And I stopped going and working, and it just seemed to be work. You know the rules and regulations of this night. We need to make sure if you're on the call, we need to know who's here. Hey, Phil, how you doing, buddy? I'm glad you're here. I've got some special stuff for you guys this evening. I believe it's going to be something that's going to be fun. It's a great show for us. Hopefully we get some new people. We had new people last week, and I know switching times probably didn't help much, but we posted it as much as we could. I think it's going to work out for us a little better in the 8 o'clock hour. D. Marshall, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you very much. So I've been working on, I don't know if you guys have heard, but I've been trying to find James Hogan, how you doing? John, hey, John, I'm new. Hey, where you from, James? Where you from, buddy? Tell me your city and state you're from, if you don't mind. And we'll give you a hello. Let all the guys say hello to you as well. We got some great people on here. Tell me a little bit about you and a little bit about your shooting. How's your shooting? How much you shoot a day and stuff like that. Love to. Michigan North Branch, beautiful Michigan. I'm sure it's a little cold there this evening. I'm sure it's a little cold. Not so bad here in Florida. We're a couple of days from Turkey Day, and it was about 80 degrees today, so it wasn't so bad at all. We weren't not having too bad of the weather. We had some cold snaps here already in Florida. We had a couple of days that were in the mid-40s. I know mid-40s isn't cold for a lot of people, but once you get to Florida, it becomes cold. Can you give me a heads up? Let me know how I sound and how the camera looks that evening. We're still working on everything, putting it all together. I'm working on this banner behind me. I hate the idea of it's all shiny all the time. I'm trying to figure out what to do on that. But beyond that, we've had a great show for you this evening. So, that being said, I want to talk to you a little bit about what's coming up. What's coming up? I don't know if you heard of Skool, Skool, but it allows me to do something I've always wanted to do. And the whole idea of the masterclass, which some of you guys have been understood about it and took it, is the masterclass was one of these programs that I built for people throughout the United States that could not always get to me, but they could get to the range and they could go shoot. And I would give them drills, tips, techniques, and everything else like that. Well, I was always looking for the platform to build a community around, a community of people just like you guys that are loyal to us on a regular basis. And I found Skool, and it's been bombarding me since I looked it up on my YouTube channel. And I finally pulled the trigger. D. Marshall, thank you very much. 5x5 and clear. We appreciate you saying that, sir. We're working on a lot. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up, whoever did that. We appreciate that very much. We wanted to put together a community of people, like-minded people that are shooters that want to help other students become the best shooters they can be. So we went ahead and pulled the trigger, excuse the pun, and went ahead and opened up Skool / John the Firearms Instructor. And this is going to be a place for you guys to join for free. Now, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for my 100 OGs my people that I know I can count on a regular basis, and you know who you are because you're here every week. And I want to give you free access. I'm not only am I going to give you free access, I'm going to give you free access to my masterclass. And all I'm asking you to do is to do the masterclass. And the masterclass is done on your own time and your own schedule. There, every one of the modules are put in individual things. And not only do you get the masterclass, you get the targets, you get the videos that come along with it, you get everything you need, and it costs you absolutely nothing except you to get into our membership. Now, this top 100 is going to be here. Your top 100 OGs that are in the master your handgun training system that we're putting together from John the Firearms Instructor. It's there. It's free. You can do it tonight. You can get in there this evening. You can go in. You can join the link. It is free. And we're not charging anybody for anything we put in this group for the first 100. Now, after the 100, we're going to be a paid group. But I want to give you value first. I want to give you what you need to be the best shooter you can be. And I think the masterclass helps out tremendously because not only are you seeing it, but you're going to receive it. In the masterclass, I give you the targets, I give you the drills, I give you the ebook and the masterclass ebook. I give you everything free. Nothing costs you nothing. All I ask you to do is do it. And then when you do it, go ahead and upload your targets to us, send us pictures of it, communicate through the community. That's how this thing works, right? We're all talking to each other. I'm going to be uploading videos. I'm going to be uploading drills. I'm going to be uploading techniques. And I think it's going to be a huge, huge community with like-minded people. So when I put out something, like a new ebook or anything else like that, you guys will be there, man. You'll be there to be part of my team. And all I'm asking for is you to click the link and get signed up. Now, that is Skool / John the Firearms Instructor. And I'll put that down in the links down below. You don't got to remember. But if you have not eyeballed or have not seen the masterclass or any of the videos, let me just tell you what it will do for you. It'll solve your low and left. You will never, ever shoot low and left again if you do your homework. Because the one thing as a firearms instructor I can do for you is give you what you're doing wrong. Now, the cool thing is, not only are you getting the masterclass, but the OG group is going to get weekly content. You're going to get the masterclass upload. You're going to get discussions. You're going to get your wins. You're going to get your targets. You're going to get your drills. You're going to get the lives we do each week that we're going to post it there. And you're going to get our communication between us, looking at your targets, identifying what you're doing wrong. And all of that is free. 1 hour consultation with me is normally $55. But the OGs get it for free. Because I just want to build this community as fast as I can. And I figure if I give you value, you'll give me value back in one way or the other. By being on this call, by being here, by looking at some of the other stuff we offer. To taking the training classes, doing the stuff we do. Each and every one of you have always touched me already with how much you value these Tuesday nights. It means an awful lot to me. And I want to keep adding to them. I think that's why I added, it went up in hours because I thought it would open up my area a little bit further. Because tonight we're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Rumble. We're going to be live on Skool here very shortly. We had our Handgun Training System Facebook group. It just wasn't what I was looking for. It wasn't a very touch, you know. I think the Skool's going to be phenomenal for this. I think it's going to give you a lot more ability for us, me and you, to communicate about your accuracy, helping the world. I mean that because we get so many people from all over the world that are looking at our YouTube channel now. I think it's something that we can do. So that is what's coming up. If you want to get it, if you want to get into it, or you want to get the stuff, and I don't know why you wouldn't, go ahead and just comment down below. I'm in kind of deal, and I'll send you a personal link, each one of you, to get into the system. And that is another way to work with me. That's the cool thing about it. All right, let's pull that off there and go back to me. All right. Well, what's your favorite? Go ahead and comment tonight for me if you don't mind. Tell me your favorite favorite Thanksgiving food. Go ahead, we'll have some fun tonight. What's your favorite? I'll start. My favorite, if I was going to say a favorite, I do like the turkey legs. I think dark meat is my favorite on the turkey. And I love getting some dark meat and putting salt on it after the fact, not the big meal. I'm talking about going in the refrigerator and grabbing a piece of dark meat chicken and yeah. Okay, prime rib. Yeah, my father-in-law makes one hell of a prime rib. He does prime rib once in a while. He used to do it all the time, but we would either do prime rib for Christmas and turkeys for Thanksgiving, or vice versa. One year, my father-in-law was talking about a turducken. Have you know what a turducken is? That is a turkey inside of a duck, inside of a quail is what it's supposed to be. But this was turducken, so they did a hen instead of a duck. It's a turkey, duck, and hen, of course. And each one is deboned and stuffed. So you have turkey, stuffing, duck, stuffing, quail, stuffing, and you cut it like in a little thing, and it's like a pinwheel. It's got all the flavors on there. Pretty cool little deal there for that. Was one of the things that my father-in-law tried. No one liked it but me and him, but it was fun. It was many years. He ordered that online. But the prime rib is one of my father-in-law's favorite stuff. He did it's a unique thing he does. I've never seen it before. My father was a great cook, but prime rib was not one of his specialties. My father-in-law would take bone-in prime rib, put the oven on broil, put the prime rib in, salt, pepper, of course, salt, do all that stuff, let it cook for an hour on high, then shut it off and let it cool down naturally. And within 2.5 hours, you have rare, medium rare, all the way through, boned in, little crispy edges. Phenomenal, bro. Phenomenal. Yeah, that's my father-in-law's prime rib. Yeah, he would put a big sign, "Do not open oven," because it would take out the heat and ruin it for us. So pretty cool. So tonight we're going to be talking in regards to, let's go ahead and get this going here. Accuracy hour. There we go. All right. So welcome to tonight. Tonight we're going to break down 10 accuracy myths that are ruining your shooting. These are things new shooters hear online in gun shops or even from friends, and how they hold people back for years. By the end of tonight's video or live, you're going to understand exactly why you miss your shots and how to fix each issue right away so they don't get in your head and you don't have to guess anymore. I think that's the biggest thing I can give each student is what you're doing wrong. I think the masterclass is a good example of that because it actually shows you improvement week to week to week to week. When we did these classes throughout the United States to put students through the class, the aha moments were many. They were students that couldn't hit the broadside of the barn, Yeah, broadside the barn, but by the time they got done with week 4, they were right there where they needed to be. Multiply the weight by 5, cook for 500 degrees, many minutes, turn it off, and the oven doesn't open for 2 hours. That's exactly what it is, D. Marshall. That's exactly how my father makes it. He'd always get the boned in prime rib, and he would let me cut it at the end, and I always cut a little fat to leave some of the meat on the boned inside. So then him and I would split a rib apiece. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So, pretty much the accuracy, a lot of people tell you this or tell you that when it comes to accuracy, but these 10 are going to be eye opening for you. All right. Let's get to number 1 here. Accuracy myths that are ruining your shooting. 10 tips students never heard explain this clearly. The gun shoots low and left. It's not the gun. It's a trigger problem and a grip problem. 99% of the time, jerking, pulling, or anticipating is causing low and left shots. I've actually showed it multiple different ways. I'm in firm belief now, prior to, it's a full system breakdown is why you shoot low and left, but you probably don't know that. You know, I just did a full video. I don't know if you guys saw it yet, but we just did a YouTube drop today, and it's about low and left, and it's about proper grip. It's about crappy grip, really. It's about why you miss is because you're not controlling the weapon properly. And I did some slow motion in this video just to kind of show you a couple different bad grips and how much the gun moved. And then I showed you a solid grip and how the gun hardly moves and cuts back onto the shot each time. And these are the things that people do. But most people are thinking it's a gun problem. The sights need to be adjusted or some crazy thing like that. Majority of the time, sights on weapons don't need to be adjusted. The customer needs to be adjusted. I did have, what's funny is I had a brand new gun come in the other day, and that sight was drifted all the way over. Somehow or another, it took a hit, whether it was in the manufacturing of it, whether it was the customer did it, or whatever it was, but it surely was all the way up. And the weird thing is, the equalizer has an Allen wrench key on the top of it, and that Allen wrench was tight. So I don't think the customer did it. I just think somehow or another it got drifted or bumped and it got moved. But beyond that, most weapons are accurate right out of the factory. Number 2, recoil is not the enemy. This is kind of a silly one because if you can't keep the weapon level, you're not going to be accurate. Trying to fight recoil is actually making it worse. I had a lady from Germany today, and she was over torquing the weapon so bad. She was so concerned about recoil management. I was telling her to drive with her back muscles, but every time she cut the shot, the bullet would drop 1.5 feet at 3 yards because she was putting so much muscle into it. I just had her calm down a little bit, and we tightened it right up after that point. More torquing we put on the gun, the more we try to choke or control the pistol, the harder it's going to move for us. We always tell students, it's in regards to, if I had a group of 5 guys on this side and a group of 5 guys on this side pulling a rope between them, and I took a really sharp knife and just cut the rope really instantly, those guys would roll off on both sides and fall to the ground. They're putting so much torque on it, and that's one of those things we need to realize. We don't want to over torque the weapon, but we surely don't want to under torque the weapon. We want to be right in the middle, and the more middle we are in the weapon, the easier it is to control it, if that makes sense. So recoil is not the enemy is a bad thing to say. Recoil is part of the system that we need to control. Control the weapon, you can control the accuracy. A tight grip doesn't mean a crushed grip. And when we talk crush grip, it's mostly thumb tucked crush. Watch this video that I just posted, and that shows you one of the grips we tested to see accuracy. And the crush grip was the one that was off it wasn't as bad as the two thumbs forward, but gapping a little bit. I would show you, but last time I showed something on YouTube, even with the yellow gun, we got a little bit of a flack from them. I don't understand it, but we can do it. We can't do it on lives for some reason. It was a rubber gun, for goodness sake, but that was part of the deal. But if you were to look up crush grip, or you look through our YouTube channel, the last couple of videos, the grips themselves, this last video, there are 3 grips I show you. There's the positive grip, 2 thumbs forward, the one we teach all the time, the one that gives you the best power. There is that same grip, but gapping. In other words, we're not really putting a lot of pressure with our hands. We're more trying to squeeze the gun with our hands instead of pressing the guns with our hands and driving the weapon with our chest muscles like we're supposed to, but we're just choking the weapon here. This is causing a lot of torquing of the weapon, which in turn causes a lot of inaccuracy. Really, low and left is a crush grip style, because what tends to happen is you're trying to crush your thumb and wedge your thumb between your positive grip. Remember, your non-dominant hand is controlling the weapon better than anything else. And if you don't control this weapon properly, you're going to have inaccuracy. That's part of the deal. We're not really putting enough pressure on the gun equally to keep the gun level. And we all know level pistol shoots level, but at the moment you engage the trigger and the front post dips, well, that's where the bullet's going to go every time. Those that are watching right now, if you have an opportunity to let us know who you are, we would appreciate that. That's kind of one of our deals here. We always like to say hello to anybody who is watching. So if you're on, looks like there's 9 or there's 15 at one time, but there's 9 right now. If you can, please go ahead and let us know who you are and where you're from. And if you're new, definitely let us know where you're from, and let me know what you think about these new hours that we're doing these on. So crush grip is one of those over gripping, locking your wrist, causes movement. Proper formula, strong support hand, stable shooting hand, not a death grip. We do not want to over torque the weapon. Number 4, your finger place matters more than your hand size. Okay, I'm sort of agreeing on that a little bit, because I want you mostly to use the tip of our finger to engage the trigger, not our crease, if that makes sense. Cool, man. You would. 2886 from Kentucky. Beautiful. That's a beautiful part of America right there, the rolling hills and stuff like that. And he says he's enjoying our videos. Well, I'm enjoying you being here. Thank you very much. Make sure you get signed up for one of those master classes, free master class through. Let us know you want it, and it is yours. That actually, I've sold that as high as $125. I've sold it as low as $79 for the first group. But you guys, you OGs right now, the next first 100 signups get that completely free. And I guarantee you by the end of that, you will improve your accuracy. Hands down. And then each week, you're going to send me a target, and I'm going to review it for you, and I'm going to let you know what you're doing wrong. And we're going to put a program together to make you more accurate. Padre, what's going on? Glad you're here, buddy. Where you from? Where you from, Padre? Welcome, welcome. Too much finger equals pulled shots to the left. Watching from Maryland. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad you're here. Kooky Carnival. Oh, one of those guys that eat meat all the time. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yo, fellows. Oh, yummy. Welcome, welcome. B-Mark 1730. Where you from, buddy? Where you from? Let me know. I always say buddy. It could be a woman. I don't know. I'm just saying thank you. Just appreciate you being here. Well, I kind of know that with my YouTube channel, most people coming from YouTube and the shows are coming from YouTube. Most of my YouTube channels are at that 98.7% men. So chances are. Mesa, Arizona. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, buddy. Man, he says, man. I assume that. You have your pictures on. A lot of times they don't have pictures on them, so that's awesome. All right. Not enough finger will push the shot to the right. Did you know that? You don't put your finger enough in the gun, you're going to push it off the right. Put too far in the gun and push it off to the left. Perfect point is fingerprint pad center a little closer to the front side than the back side. It makes a big difference on your trigger. One of the things I'll give you guys, if you're having a little bit of anxiety when you're at the range or rushing the shots, a cool drill or a cool technique that we teach in the masterclass themselves is go ahead and get John Diamond. How you doing, buddy? Thank you for being here. Yeah, did you like it, John? Yeah, I seen the video you're talking about. Thank you for watching the video, buddy. I thought the slow motion was pretty cool. I had that in the can for about a week while I was doing the other one. You know, as a YouTuber, when we put these things out and we get a video that starts, YouTube starts recommending, we don't like to put out another one that's going to take some of the glory away. So we wait till that one gets a little slow to put out the next one. Well, that one we just put out a week ago, that's still climbing. That's over 5,500 views, which is for us is big. You know, we started this channel in 2022, and we started with 36 subscribers. Johnny and I, my oldest boy, and I said, John, come work for me a little bit, and let's see if we can get this YouTube channel to go somewhere. Let's see what we can do. And it took us about a year to get to the 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watch hours, because we were getting about 200 views. That was it, 200. But I kept doing it. I kept it up. And I just started getting more and more and more. And now we're averaging, in the last 2 months, we've been averaging probably 1,000, 1,500 views in the first 2 days of video. And then it keeps going further and further and further. I've had multiple. Right as of 2 weeks ago, we had 6.5 million views, and we're at almost 44,000 subscribers. We'll hit that probably tonight or tomorrow. We are very fortunate that you guys love our content, And I try to be the natural person to give it out just exactly the same way each time. So I'm not, this is me, whether you come to the store, this is me, whether you see me on TV. That's the one thing I promised you guys at the very beginning is I miss. If I'm accurate with a pistol, I'm accurate with a pistol. I'm not asking you to be different than me. If I pull a shot, I want you to know I pulled a shot. We don't edit our stuff to be the most accurate person in the world. I don't want you to be I want you to be a defensive shooter. I want you to be 20% bullseye shooter and the rest of it defensive shooter. That means hitting that 8-inch paper plate no matter what distance it is. That's what we need to work on mostly. I teach concealed carry. I teach defensive shooting. That's a big difference than bullseye shooters. Bullseye shooters shoot slow, and they're really consistent on accuracy. We just need to be able to make sure the shots go exactly where we're aiming, and no questions. All right, beautiful. Number 5, sight picture isn't about perfect. It's about repeatable. New shooters chase the perfect sight picture. And I think what's more important than talking about perfect sight, what they try to do is hold the sight completely still or hold the gun completely still. And this is a problem for most people. I'm telling you what, I'm 58 years old, and sometimes when I get my hands out there, I get a little bit of shakiness. And I can tell you that I've been more stable in my life, but my hands kind of shake a little bit now. We're never going to hold the gun completely still. You want to see proof of that, to hold a laser out there, hold a gun with a laser out there, and watch your heartbeat. Just make that laser dance. Not even pulling the trigger, not even jerking the trigger, not even engaging the trigger properly. It's going to dance because of heaving and breathing. It's the pulse of your body going through. It's you holding your breath, your breathing. It's all moving around. So we just need to have a repeatable process to put the sight picture and the sight alignment together and be consistent. That's why we focus a lot, guys, on the 6 o'clock hold. With the 6 o'clock hold, on top of using front sight focus, accuracy is I'm telling you, I have totally changed the way I shoot. I mean, I had an aha moment. I always tell you guys, those aha moments are so important for us because they wake you up. You go do 2, 3, 4 magazines, and all of a sudden you go, wait a minute. I'm not missing as much as I should. I'm not missing this. Something's going on. I'm doing something a little different. Now, here's the challenge of that is identifying it. Identify the good stuff and forget all the shit. Forget all the bad stuff. We don't want the bad stuff. We want to remember the good stuff. And if we can do that over and over and over and over again, our accuracy starts getting tighter and tighter and tighter. I had a bad problem. I used to be the worst shooter in the group. Miss Johnson was number 1. Jacob was number 2. Johnny was number 3. Johnny became number 1. Heidi was still number 1. And I was in that 3 and 4 range. Now with the front sight focus, I'm top dog. Now, as a firearms instructor who's been teaching students since 2013, I should be the top dog, right? But sometimes, I was shooting low and left, and I could solve your low and left. I just couldn't solve my low and left. And as I got further and further along, I said to myself, okay. And then all of a sudden, I did a video on front sight focus and concentrating on that front sight, and all of a sudden, bingo, bango! What the hell? That was 5 in the same hole. Okay, all right, I've done this before. Let's see what happens the next time. And then the next mag, same thing. And then the next mag, same thing. Holy shit. So I finish up the video. I do what I got to do. I go to the next video. I do it, and I start concentrating on that front post. And I was with customers the next day, and bingo, bango.
bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. I don't really go bullseye, but I'm more, can I put them all together, And then I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again. I went, oh shit, I got something here. So then I got the video out, and I started looking at old videos and new videos, and it wasn't the grip, and it wasn't the stance, and it wasn't trigger control, because they were all doing what they need to do. It was the gun. I was using my sights to aim the weapon. I was not using my front post to focus the weapon at the target, and it made such a difference. Go back and watch that front sight focus video. It'll change your game, kids. It'll change your games. All right, so new shooters chase perfect sight alignment. Pro shooters are consistent with front sight focus. Same picture, same result. This is the key thing we need to make sure we understand on a regular basis. If we do everything the same, we're going to get the same results. If you're pulling the trigger, you're going to pull the bullet. If you press the trigger and use your sight alignment properly in front sight focus, your targets are going to be a lot tighter. Tighter group is what we want. We want to be consistent in tight groups. That's the key thing. Number 6 is most misses happen on the reset and not the first shot. Reset is a thing that is taught an awful lot, and it's good for bullseyes. It's not good for defensive shooting. And if you don't know what a reset is, we're talking about taking a striker-fired weapon like a Glock or Smith or Taurus or whatever you have, and you're going to bring the trigger back, press it back, pass it back until it fires. Hold the trigger to the back wall of the firearm and allow it to come forward just enough to hear the weapon click. That's as far as the weapon needs to be. Trigger needs to be brought forward enough to reset the firing pin or the trigger assembly to allow you to cut the next shot. What this does, it takes some of the trigger travel out of the pistol, and it starts understanding how much trigger travel we need to make it go bang. If you got to think about this, we have the trigger, we have the bang. We need to know where in this whole thing, how far we need to take it back before we start focusing on our sight system, and then finish to the bang, and then allow the trigger to come forward just enough to click the reset to go back to bang, reset, back to bang, reset, back to bang. If you let it come all the way forward, then you're pulling the trigger, pulling it back, and that's what causes muzzle dip or front dip on the weapon, because we tend to anticipate pulling the trigger versus pressing the trigger. So if you kind of think about teaching reset, break, prep, bringing it back, getting it there, checking your sight system, finishing it, letting it come forward, it's a better system for most shooters to understand. Most shooters have that internal monster that's inside them that wants them to pull or get out of here. We don't want to be here. So they get excited and pull the trigger. So here's a tip for you. And I was trying to tell you just a little bit ago and I missed it, but this is a good tip for you. In your range bag, you should be carrying some markers with you. Red, blue, green, purple. I don't care what colors they are. And then pick a drill, whatever the drill is going to be, and make sure you shoot 5 string shots, 5 rounds in the gun at a time. And then what we're going to do is we are going to cut 5 shots, aim at something, obviously, bring the target in, and mark each one of your holes. Hopefully, you can't tell one hole from the other, and you don't need my classes anymore. You're the excellent shooter. But most of the time, you get a couple that are where they need to be, and a couple maybe left, and one that's down. And you start focusing on when you shoot those, which one's down and which one's up. A lot of people can kind of have an idea which one was first, which one was second, which one was third. And you can almost feel when you cut the shot properly, and you can almost feel when you're pulling or jerking the trigger, if that makes sense. And then mark every one of those holes. And then the next 5 strings, mark every one of those holes. And what you're marking them is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And if you start seeing a pattern where either the first shot or the last shot is always a bad one, then we know we need to slow down during the first shot or the last shot. Does that make sense? Because we are rushing the first shot and we're losing control on the last shot. This is why we always stick to these 5-round strings, because if you take a Glock 19 with 15 rounds in it, what do you think your accuracy is going to be from 6 to 15 if the first 5 you're getting fatigued on? What do you think 6 through 15 is going to be? All over the place, if that makes sense. And there's where you learn the bad habits. No problem, John. Have a good night, buddy. But that's where the bad habits happen. That's when you get into the bad problems. But when you start identifying the bad problems, it makes it so much easier. Most of the time, it's rushing the shot. Most of the time, it's got a bad grip. Most of the time, you're not having the proper sight alignment. There's only a couple things that are causing inaccuracy. We just got to make sure that we understand what we're doing. And once you start feeling good shots versus the bad shots, it makes such a difference. Such an aha moment for you at that point in time. Number 7 is you don't need a stiff stance. You need a balanced one. Okay, that's people overdo leaning forward and squatting low. You always catch that out there, right? You have. I always tell students, okay, here's the proper grip, and we can just visualize this. You don't have to get up and do it, but bonus points if you get up and do it. But my fat ass is sitting right here. I ain't doing it. Think about bouncing on your knees just a little bit. Feet shoulder width apart. Your feet are flat on the ground. Now, what I want you to do is make sure your belly button is facing towards the target. I know a lot of you want to stand with 1 foot forward and 1 foot back in a weaver stance. We've already told you that is for bullseye. That was Jack Weaver put that together. The win competitions, not to wear a bulletproof vest or not to be in a gunfight. They talked about it gave you a lower profile when you turn sideways, but the problem is back in the day when Jack was around, everyone didn't wear bulletproof vests. They weren't issued to everybody. So now with bulletproof vests, you want your whole body checked here, right? It's very important. And by the way, we're going to have a relationship with a company here in a little bit. It's going to be good for us. And it's going to give you the ability to get those things shipped directly to you. And you never think you're going to need it to you. And I have one at my office. It's my Hurricane one. It's a big one, but it carries vest. It's kind of nice to have that ability. Never use it really, just sits there. But in case you ever need it, it is available. All right, so what you're looking to do is now you're standing. I want you to lift your heels up and lean forward just enough that you don't fall forward. And that is what happens there is you change the balance of yourself and you start putting your weight on your toes just a little bit. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the athletic stance with just a little bit of lean forward. You're putting your nose over your toes, and it's going to give you a balance effect. And what this does for us, it allows us to soak up some of the recoil that we're getting. When you stand flat-footed, then the recoil can push us backwards, which is something we don't want. We want to soak up the recoil by leaning forward just a little bit, nose over toes, and bounce on our knees just enough to get comfortable. And as we do that, it's a more level pistol at that point too. You're not getting the high rise and high low of the pistol. It makes sense. All right. So most people are trying to lean forward a little bit, but then they get a little more cranky. They kind of like lean way over and look like Aunt Cranny or something like that. You don't want that. You want to be more natural. That's where we always grab students and lift up on their belt loop. Just be natural. You're not going to repeat some crazy stance with 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Your nose is over your left eye because you're right-handed and left eye dominant. You just got to be balanced, and balance is a key thing. The more comfortable you are shooting, the more accurate you're going to be shooting. All right, number 8 is slow is smooth and smooth is fast is wrong. No, that's bad. That is one of the best things I can give you. You got to go slow before you can go fast, right? We've been learning that our whole life. Most of us, except my oldest boy, Johnny, we crawled before we walked. That boy never crawled. He went from he walked the walls, hands on the wall, boom, 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 boom. Or he would get these 2 fingers right here. And you talk about killing my back. That boy would grab hold of my fingers and want to walk all over the house. But in the long run, he was up and moving pretty quick as a young little kid. Jacob, we had to drag his ass all around because he took a while to get going, but pretty interesting. But then Johnny was the one that was always a little adventurous, if I would say. He wanted to take he did not want training wheels on his bicycle. And I kept telling him, you can't ride a bike, son. You don't know how to ride a bike. You don't have the clue. You don't have the balance. You're going to fall over and hurt yourself. And he goes, I don't want to. He cried, all right, jackass, I'll take him off. So I took him off. I didn't take him off. I folded them up because I knew I was going to put them back on. And we had a big hill at our house. It's grass, right? So he goes, put me up the hill, Dad. And I said, you sure? Yeah. He was 5, maybe 6. And I put him on top of that hill and I let him go. And he just started pedaling. And he went all the way down the street and realized I said, turn around. So when he turned around, he forgot to pedal and fell over. And that was it. He was able to ride that bicycle after that. He had it all figured out. He was done. Within one day, I was like, man, I know it took me forever and a day. My dad had to make me take the training wheels off my bike. I used to love to lean on that thing and get that training wheel sliding across there. My dad finally got rid of them when I was a little kid. So slow is smooth and smooth is fast. This is a great thing to think about when you're at the range. We need to make sure that we're working the gun as slow as we can to get down the fundamentals. And once we got the fundamentals down, then we can pick the speed up and shoot a little faster and a little faster and a little faster. There's the fine line between accuracy, out of control, or bullets out of control and bullets in control. If we're shooting an 8-inch paper plate and we're all in the center and you're able to do it faster and faster and faster, the moment you cut 2 shots or 3 shots out of the paper plate, then we've gone too fast. or our distance is too far for what we're trying to aim at. And if you're really a defensive shooter, yeah. Well, race cars definitely this demarshal race cars that they going into curves and things like that is such a all that stuff is added into it. Any kind of sport, getting the right system down is so key. That's why the repetition is so important for us. What I would tell you is start short distances and start short rounds. There's opportunities to do one-shot drills if you want, to be honest with you, as long as you're getting something. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see most students do is they don't have a plan when they go to the range. They have no concept of what they plan to do. That's the beauty of the masterclass. Every week you get a drill. Every week you get a system. Every week you get why you're doing the drill and what it's about and why it's going to improve your accuracy. And then you start building these programs for you. Hey, Phil, how many months did we do the handgun training system? I believe we went almost a year doing it. I don't know exactly. And we had a group of 5 guys. The masterclass, we had a bunch of people get into that, and I wanted to give them something else, so I put the masterclass together. And that was a drill a week. And that drill a week gave them why the drill was there, what was important. And this is all coming to the handgun training system 9 or 10 weeks of a drill a week kind of deal. So, I mean, it was one of those deals where each week, some weeks were very easy, some weeks were really challenging. And I was very surprised I was able to come up with those each time. Be honest with you, I kind of cheat. I use AI a little bit. It's been helping me out putting some stuff together, but I fine tune them to meet me, and I go in the back and shoot them. So it's kind of a fun little deal, and it just gives you what you now. I don't know what Phil. You probably got a book full of targets and shootings and drills that you like, and out of the 9 or 10 weeks, I'm sure not every one he loved, but each one of them challenged you. I think that's a big deal. If you're going to the range, if you went to the range this week, if you went out and you shot this week and you were bored, well, you need to change something up because you're not getting anything out of it at that point in time. We need to challenge ourselves each week to become better. I always say, who learns the most at the Super Bowl at the end? It's not the winners. It's the losers. They realize what they've done wrong. They go back and look at tape. They eat crow for a full year, understanding it was 1 or 2 plays, maybe 3, that caused them to lose that. Some are more challenging than others. Thanks, Phil. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah. And that's the key thing. You put the burden on yourself. How accurate or how accurate do you want to be? How accurate do you need to be? Be honest with you. I am the average size guy. You think about it. I'm 5'6" on a good day. And I've lost 50 pounds and I'm 247 or something like that. But this side of me here to here is 15 inches. I don't care if you have never shot a pistol in your life. You ain't going to miss that. Now, the challenge of that is we're responsible for those bullets and they hit the ground. And being consistent is a key thing for us. So, spending the time to do it is one of those things. So if you're not challenging yourself at the range, well, that's a problem in itself. Range time should not be easy. Range time should be challenging. Because in real world situation, when shit hits the fan, you can't go back and say, get the book out, look back to page paragraph 6 to 9 and find out what I said on a live 2 years ago to figure everything out. Unfortunately for us, our body will shut off everything it deems unnecessary. If it thinks your vision is not necessary to make this shot, it's going to do it. If it thinks walking or any kind of thing like that, you get into tunnel vision, it's going to deem everything it feels unnecessary and necessary, and you've got to deal with it. That's why shooting enough to build muscle memory is so important for us, because without it, we're up the paddle. We're up the paddle without a canal. We're we're up the river without a paddle. Yeah, we don't want to be there. Most people blink or flinch before they realize it. It's not natural, really, to shoot a pistol. You have an explosion going off in your hand. And if you are not doing some kind of anticipation, you're not alive. You're not a human. I caught myself the other day on a video, and I was watching it, and I went, oh my God, do you see that flinch? And of course, I'm always critical of what I do. But I kind of, after years of being in the YouTube channel, you got to thick skin anyways to have one of these. I don't know what people do all night. I feel bad for them sometimes to, watch a video all the way to the end and then complain about the whole video. And I just don't understand. If you don't like it, don't watch it. If you don't think it's right, don't watch it. But you coming on and telling me everything that I feel that I'm wrong about, I don't know what I'm doing, or anything else, you just got to have thick skin. And you know what I do? And Johnny talked me this, my oldest boy. And I used to get so sensitive about certain things. And, I figured being heavy, I figured I'd get a bunch of fat stuff. If you're fat or this or that, and I hardly ever get anything like that. But one time I had my thumb, I got some fungus underneath my thumb. It would come in and go out. And I did a video and had my thumb in the video with the fungus. You should have seen the fungus quotes and comments and everything else about my thumb. I actually had to go, and I don't know if you know this, but on YouTube, you can mark words that if a comment comes in with that word in it, that it gets put off to the side for us to review afterwards. And if you don't review it, then it gets away. There'd be piles of them over there that I wouldn't even go look at. But most of the time now, whatever they start out with, man, or this, or whatever, I just, hey, thanks for watching. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. No matter, do you click on the video? Do you watch any of it? AdSense is involved, and I get monetarily amount of money for it. Not a lot, but we're getting something. And I just say thank you for watching this. It cracks me up all the time. It's subconscious. So what you want to think about is trying to do some dry firing drills. I think what the big deal is about flinching is that every time you touch the gun on an average base, the gun fires. And what ends up happening is we build a natural flinch when we do that. So when a customer or a person shoots a pistol and it fires, you're building a sequence there. When you dry fire, it confuses the sequence. So that's just why in the masterclass, on second week, we're asking you to live fire and dry fire in the same training session. So we do 5 dry and 5 live. And you'll be very surprised how accurate you get doing that. And that's basically every week. We're putting more and more dry firing in. Phil, not putting you in a point there, but how much dry firing did you do prior to the master class? And how much are you doing now since you've taken the master class? Don't fib on it either. Just let me know are you doing much dry firing now, Are you more concentrating on something else? Let's see what he has to say about that. Because dry fire itself really is one of those techniques that people know about, they hear about it. But if you're not doing it properly, a dry fire loading, shooting, and feeling the pressure, you should be driving that pistol just as hard as you're driving it when you're shooting it. This is why I don't like all these laser programs and stuff like that, because there's no recoil management involved in it. And dry firing is a big point of it because it helps us understand trigger travel and trigger drift and everything else like that. But what we can't simulate with dry firing is recoil. And with recoil, it becomes so much more of a problem for some people, right? Shooting indoors, you have a lot of the noise, but you have a lot of the recoil, uh, the the actual concussion you feel when you shoot a bullet indoors. You're getting that off your chest, off the walls, hitting you in multiple different directions that a lot of people aren't used to. So it kind of freaks them out a little bit as well. So working on the ball and dummy drill or working on the magic eye drill, these are all videos I've done. Work on a decent dry fire prep. These are key things to expose any kind of drifting. I think one of the best one is the ball and dummy because that's done by a friend, and you go to the range, load 4 rounds of live and 1 dummy round. Don't tell your friend where you put the dummy round in, and let them engage the trigger. You'll see the anticipation when you get to that round and you cut that shot, and there's no bang going on. You see how much dipping you're doing of the front firearm. And number 10 is targets never lie. Learn to read it. This is one of the things, the reason why I wanted to put the community together to begin with is because of the shot doctor. Many years ago, Johnny and I put together my fat head on a doctor's body, and we called the shot doctor. And pretty much every Monday, I would come in and see targets on lane 1 or lane 2 or lane 3 or lane 4. And I wouldn't know the student very well. I wouldn't know who was here. But I would kind of be able to identify. And then what I would do with the boys is I would bring Jacob up and I'd go, okay, Jacob, look at this target and kind of give me what you think is going on. And then as they got further along, they could go back there and identify what they're seeing as well. The targets are our identification. That's why when we put the master class together, we wanted to get some way of getting these targets or videos back to us so we could evaluate them and give you what you're doing wrong and try to solve it as much as possible. I don't need to be holding your hand during the process, but it helps me to see what you're doing wrong when you're looking at your target and you're seeing a lot of low and left. Well, we know there's a couple things that are causing low and left, and we need to start out with a good foundation, get a good grip, make sure the gun's over your dominant eye, using the proper trigger press, driving with your chest muscles. There's a lot of little things that can happen, but the moment you put it all together and the moment you cut that shot and the moment it goes exactly where you're wanting, boy, that feels good. That feels like success. That feels like you're doing something right. And that's what we did with the masterclass. We put it all together for you, and I'm willing to give it to you for free. I'm willing to give it to you just because I want to get this group of like-minded people together. So if you want that ability to do that, let me know. Phil, I already saw you guys. I already saw that in the description of this below. Or you can always email John at firearmstrainingbyjohngjohnson.com. That's John at firearmstrainingbyjohngjohnson.com. And tell me I'm in, or just text down below, I'm in, and I will send you a link that gets you into the first 100 of the group. And then the master class is all there, free, ready, rock and roll. And then all that's downloadable. The targets are downloadable. The ebook is there. The free ebook is there as well, downloadable. And all the other ebooks will be up in the system itself too. I want to give as much as possible with this group, these first 100 OGs, the ones that I really see are going to help me take this program and this ability and take it further and become the best. There's not a lot of firearms trainer on Skool. I don't think they haven't thinking out of the box like I have. My first group I ever did with the masterclass, we were coast to coast. We were from Boston, Massachusetts, to Washington State and states in between. And we were able to get all those students accurate very quickly. All right. So I'm here to personally help you whatever you need. If you're at the range and you're running into some problems and you just can't figure it out, let me evaluate them for you. You can always send us a copy of one of your targets and let you know. Thank you, James. Appreciate you. I appreciate you very much, James. Well, James, where are you from, buddy? James Hugan, 4889. Appreciate you being here. If you want to get a free evaluation, if you want us to take a look at some of your stuff, we actually do these available for you as well. All you do is send us a copy or a text. You can text it to me as well, and then we will look at your targets. I would love to get video and your target to kind of see you, but a lot of ranges don't allow it. But if you're able to videotape yourself while you're shooting, that's a good way for us to see what's going on as well. I want to see your grip. I want to see your stance. I want to see a lot of different stuff. It will definitely help you. Being a mobile or a virtual firearms instructor is a unique thing that I'm trying to give you, but you can keep it a secret and finally outshoot your brother-in-law. You know he doesn't practice. He just gets lucky, and you get frustrated. But we're gonna kick some butt there, so we can get that done. All right, that wraps up the accuracy hour for the week. And remember, accuracy is never luck. You've got to work at it. You can't take a magic pill and become accurate. Boy, I wish you could. I could sell them for a lot of money. It takes skill. It takes luck. It takes control. It takes understanding what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. Shooting a pistol is not complicated, but it is complex, and you need to know what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. That's what the masterclass and the membership program we're doing into the Skool accuracy hour thing we're putting together. I think it's going to be a great community. I think it's going to be a lot of people just like you working to shoot better each week and get those aha moments that we need. I'd like to wish you and your family a happy and turkey-filled Thanksgiving. I'm going to be off on Thanksgiving, and then we have Black Friday sales, and we have Saturday, and then we have Sunday. So I only get one day off, but it's going to be with family. We got 13 coming over. My mother-in-law and father-in-law, Sue and Chuck. My sister-in-law, Kyra, and her two daughters, and the baby, and I've got my family, my oldest son, his wife, his future wife, Hillary. 1L. That's what he told me when I met a girl. Ray, what's her name? Hillary. 1L, he said. And then I got my beautiful bride and my son, Jacob. And from the Johnsons to you guys, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and watch some football and enjoy yourself. Until next time, guys, God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line defense. I don't think we did too bad going to 8 o'clock. Is 8 o'clock too late? This puts it at 9:10 now. Jacob said I should do 7:30, but I'm not exactly sure. We're going to keep it at 8 till the end of the year. You guys can give me your evaluations at that point in time to tell me what you're thinking. I keep going back and forth of maybe doing another Saturday, some kind of Saturday thing, or Sunday morning church thing or whatever. I don't know. I haven't figured it all out. We just keep going and doing it. But the course, the Skool membership thing, that's going to add a lot of value to you guys because we're going to do some lives on there as well. And those are going to be somewhat exclusive away from the YouTube stuff. We are going to cross promote, and we are going to give a lot of the YouTube stuff in there. But most of I think we're going to do is a lot of the bigger videos that lay out to a program. Because I have a playlist on everything I do. So we have a masterclass playlist. There's a bunch of them on there. And all the videos that are in masterclass, plus all the shorts that we're doing and everything else like that. But if there's something you want me to cover, or there's something that you want me to look at, or there's something you want me to do, I'm all ears all the time about that stuff. I'm always wanting to help you become the best shooter you can be. We'll see you guys. God bless. Love you very much. We'll see you on the next one.